the talent is there. I'm not really worried about the defensive being prepared for a different scheme out of the Packers. It's going to be the same key to stopping them. It's contain Rodgers. Don't let him break outside. People will ask you, like, what's the scariest thing you've ever seen? Is it a Freddy Krueger movie? Is it the Saw? Is it the Saw movie that said, no, the scariest thing I've ever seen is Aaron Rodgers break and contain. I have nightmares about that. So you got to keep him in the pocket, keep him between the tackles. You let him get outside the tackle box, you're screwed. You're pretty much screwed because the things he can do when he breaks contain, it's scary as hell.
You know, one of my favorite plays is from that scenario is when he bootleg. I think it was 2016. He bootlegs out. Everson Griffin's in his face. Somehow he curls around Everson Griffin, makes him eat dirt somehow. And then you see Griffin pointing ahead, and somehow Rodgers jukes Rhodes. Like, I didn't know he was that athletic because Rhodes is a freak athlete. So when I watched him do that, and I'm like, what just happened? Like, I know our quarterback is an athletic guy, but I know he didn't. I've seen him juke out Lance Briggs. Lance Briggs kind of mugged the feet as a linebacker, but still, Rhodes is a very, very athletic DB. And when I watched him do that to Griffin, then Rhodes, I was like, good Lord. And that's probably my all-time favorite play of Rodgers because, one, he ran 30 yards on that play, and I think he was suffering from a mild calf strain, too, and somehow he pulled that off. And look, his juke didn't even look that good. It looks like he just shook his head.
He's freakishly talented, and people don't give him enough credit, I think, for his athleticism. It's scary. It's just scary. And
that was
just that whole
negative in the draft. People said he couldn't. People said, "Oh yeah, this guy can't run."
Oh no. Well then, whoever was watching tape was watching the wrong tapes. Are they sure they were watching?
Mel Kiper.
Oh wait, Colin Cowherd. All right. Well, we're going to throw him out.
Oh my God.
He had the Jets going. He had the Jets going 16-0 this year. So we'll throw. Well, I think he said, and he's right. They were 16-0, and then they didn't score again and lost 17-16. So,
God.
Now Mel Kiper, that's hard to believe that Mel Kiper missed on him. But yeah, Rodgers is a freakish talent. He scares the hell out of
soaks into Mel's scalp a little too much over the years. I think it's tainted his IQ.
He just scares the living out of him.
Go back. Yeah. But that's the thing is, we all know he's an athlete. I just didn't think he was that much of an athlete until I watched that one play. It's probably one of my favorite plays, if not my top 3 plays. I know there's a bunch I can go through, but that one always comes to mind. And I know it has to be the Vikings. I'm sorry, but Everson Griffin is a freak of nature as well. And for Rodgers to kind of bootleg and hard curl and make Griffin just kind of beat dirt, I'm like, that's hard as hell to do because Griffin, once he gets there and hands on, he doesn't let go.
All right, JB. I want to get to this real quick now that we've went down this Dave rabbit hole about past plays and quarterbacks juking on a strained calf.
I like my rabbit holes.
I know you're always going down these rabbit
holes. You're our
like
Alice in the Wonderland
addiction
JB.
Sometimes. I swear to God.
YouTube addiction?
Yeah.
I just blushed.
Yeah. So anyway, what are your keys to the victories for the Vikings, and what would be the scenarios in which you would see them losing?
Well, if they're going to win, they've got to be able to run the ball. The best way to beat Aaron Rodgers is don't let him have the ball in his hand. So you got to control the clock, and the way you do that is to be able to run the ball. If the Vikings can't run the ball, and they've got to throw the ball 30 times in that game, like you said, I love Cousins as a guy, and I think he's got talent, but he scares me when he has to throw the ball all night. I can see him throwing 2 or 3 picks if he has to throw. Defense cannot let Aaron Rodgers break contain. We just talked about that. If Rodgers is back there running around, he's either going to run for 30 yards or he's going to throw for 35. That's what's going to happen, and he's just scary. That's the key. Keep him off the field, and when he's on the field, contain him when he's out there. It's that simple. Don't turn the ball over, and that's every week. You can't turn the ball over, but to give Rodgers more chances, you're just asking for trouble.
do you think health falls into that with the kind of injury list we were talking before?
Yeah, I mean, we got to watch the second. Like you said, we might be running thin in the secondary. That could be difficult. That puts a little bit more pressure on the front seven. If Elfline is hurt, yeah, now you it could change your offensive game plan. We're not that deep on the line as far as I can see. Again, a lot of youth there. Yeah, if you're not healthy, yeah, it's going to be a problem. But the same thing goes, I mean, the Packers came out of that game pretty healthy, plus you guys have extra time off. You played on Thursday, so you had a few extra days to get healthy. I never discount that extra time off. I think there's an advantage there for you guys, plus you're playing in Green Bay. It's going to be a tough night. It's going to be a tough day, I mean.
Okay, outside of Aaron Rodgers, and I know we talked about the offense not being impressive, but just for the sake of the question, okay, here. Outside of Aaron Rodgers, when you watched Week 1, what's the one thing you thought they did well that kind of makes you nervous when it came to their offense? Because they had a few things go well that you could say, okay, if they can put that together. I mean, overall it was mundane, but did you see anything, or can you pick out one thing that you saw that they did well that kind of makes you nervous if they were able to get that same thing going against you guys Sunday?
The only thing that I saw that is they kind of remembered that Jimmy Graham is a pretty good tight end. He's been forgotten
that night. I fell on my couch for that one.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham, I mean, he came to Green Bay, and I thought, oh, this is trouble. And they kind of never really got going with him. Monday night, they figured out that Jimmy Graham could still play tight end, and adding that weapon is scary to me. I don't like that. I don't like Jimmy Graham being involved in the offense because normally he's going to go up against the linebacker and, you know, the tight end over the linebacker. Even as good as the Viking linebackers are, I think it could get nasty if Graham is running free in the secondary. So that really was the one thing I looked at that was like, Jimmy Graham, they remembered he can play. That's not good.
I've got two keys to victory, I think, for the Vikings that they could win with, that maybe they can focus on something that they were weak at. Last week and then the end of the season, I saw this in a couple games. Man, the Vikings cannot bite on play action because I watched it against Atlanta. As bad as Atlanta was, there was like a good 7-8 plays in there, JB, where it was play action, and Matt Ryan had all day to throw.
Yep.
And you saw the Vikings on a bootleg 4 or 5 times out of those play actions would just be, they would be sold on and not even looking towards Matt Ryan because they were expecting to run so hard because the pass game couldn't get going. So I'm thinking, I mean, LaFleur's offense runs usually on a lot of play action. We saw that last year with Tennessee when he was underneath McVay in LA. Man, play action was everywhere. So I'm expecting a lot more of it this Sunday, and that would be a key for Minnesota is to not bite so hard on those play action plays because, man, it just looked like either they were 100% on with that with the defense or they just completely missed it. Yeah,
and, you know, quite honestly, the Packers don't really run that well, so you really shouldn't be biting on play action. To be honest, I hate to say that. I'm not trying to knock you guys, but it's not a running team.
Totally true.
Well, I heard you say that on your podcast, and it is true. But here's the thing: what I noticed watching film, JB, is it goes back to kind of this old thing. In order for play action to work, it's not that play action doesn't work because you're gashing the defense. Play action actually works because you actually committed to it, and the defense shuts it down, therefore building your confidence. And honestly, when you go back and watch those first couple of drives, right, watch them. And what do? Ran the ball, nothing. Came back, ran the ball again, nothing. Third down, they try to run some double action and then throw, punt. They'd come back, first down, run the ball, get stuffed. Second ball down, couple of. Well, then all of a sudden, guess what happened on the first play of the third drive? Boom, play action, bite, 47 yards to MVS. So for the first time since Mike McCarthy, play action actually works.
In 5 years.
Not because they're actually successful, but because they're willing just to do it, punt the ball, trust their defense, come back, do it again. And so when they actually run that play action, the defense is actually overconfident because they have been shutting it down. That's the one thing I actually noticed that made me happy. And yes, I would love that their run game actually was more productive, but it actually gave Rodgers time and opened things up going after that and actually opened things up underneath going forward. That was the only difference there that I had to nitpick there about it. It's not that they're successful. It's that they are actually committed to doing it despite that they're not successful, which makes the play action viable, that you have to respect it. That's the only thing I want to say.
That's a fair point.
I got a second key to victory for Minnesota, and it is a secret weapon that I have noticed a name over the offseason, and it used to be a Packers name out in Super Bowl 31. Don Beatty's son, Chad Beatty, could be an X factor in this game because the defense could focus so much on Diggs, on Thielen, on Rudolph, and you got this little white guy that's going to go out there in the slot, and I think he is going to do some damage. I hate to say it. I just think he's going to, because no one is paying attention to him. I've watched this kid for y'all. He went and knocked off Laquan Treadwell off the depth chart, which was a former number 1 draft pick. And Chad Beatty looks good.
Well, Laquan Treadwell was the Christian Ponder of wide receivers for the Vikings. I mean,
that's bad.
Yeah, he was that first rounder. You looked, you just shook your head. You said, "That's a throwaway." I never really bought into him. I was at the Cardinals game last year, watching him drop 3rd down and 7 passes, and he just never got it. He never got the hang of it. What I like about Beebe, I'm not going to call him Julian Edelman. I mean Edelman. He's more of a Danny Amendola type. Same kind of thing, but he's more like, if you need that 6 yards on a 3rd and 5, he's going to find that little soft spot, and you're going to throw it to him, and he's going to catch it. He's going to keep the sticks moving. They have him returning punts.
Route runner too.
Yeah, he's very precise. I like what he brings to the table. He's going to keep the sticks moving, and a short passing game works the same as a running game against the Packers. You're keeping Rodgers off the field. You're sustaining a drive, keep him off the field. So, yeah, I think he could be really key in terms of helping sustain some drives if he can find the soft spot and make the catches. They got him returning punts, too. He didn't really return anything on Sunday, but everything, he secured the ball, and that's all you really want. That was what Marcus Sherrills was, an X factor every week, and people just didn't give him enough credit. I don't think. Sherrills could turn a game around. He could turn field position around with the way he can return punts, but he didn't fumble. That's what we get with Beebe. I don't know that we're going to get any, big returns with him, but I think you're going to get a kid who's going to be able to catch the ball, secure it, and give your offense the ball back and not lose it. So, I like the kid. He's definitely better than Treadwell, but that's a bar you could step over.
Yeah, and I think he's one of the secret X factors for that offense, especially if they want to keep the pressure off Cousins. Quick, simple routes, BB doing the slant routes. And that's the thing. I know Jay said the corners are going to play a little bit physical at the line, but, man, BB's got the quick twitch right off and getting the ball in his hands, and he can get in those little creases. It's dangerous.
Oh, I like the kid when they signed him, really. But yeah, great X factor. I like that choice. If I was going to pick an X factor though for this game, I'm going with Madison, the kid we drafted out of Boise State.
Second string running back.
Yep, I'm going to go with my backup running back getting a touch somewhere, getting a big run. He had 2 really nice runs last week, so I'm looking at him as my X factor, where he spells Cook to maybe bust one. Get us down deep, or maybe just take it to the house. I really like this kid. He did a lot of things at Boise. He's a dual threat back, which I really like. I miss Latavius Murray, but I like this kid. So that's my X factor if we're going to pick one.
By the way, Latavius Murray looks really good in the Saints offense. He's a very good complementary back to Kamara.
He was a great complementary back to Cook.
Oh yeah,
I love the kid. Yeah,
New Orleans too.
Yeah, he looks fantastic.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's just a little side note.